Hey guys, welcome back. It's me, Gimpy. Time for another turn here in a day of heroes. And this scenario is called, if I remember right, a short hop. We've got our setup here all ready to go from before. If you guys remember, our Rangers are down here and they're planning on kind of pushing to the right and north towards the objective. Our Delta guys are here. And they're kind of, each one of their counters is more the equivalent of a half squad than a full squad. They still can be, flipped over to the shaken side and all that good stuff, but there's not as many of them, technically. They're kind of my holding action. I want them to kind of take pot shots and plink away at these guys as my main force pushes around and tries to take my objective, which is up here, and I gain 2 points, victory points, for each one of the 6 hexes I control at the end. However, I lose victory points for damaging mobs. If I shoot through or at a mob and I cause them to disperse, that's a victory point loss. And the bad guys get victory points for killing me, shooting down my helicopters and all that good stuff. So winning this one's actually going to be a little bit difficult. We'll have to see how it goes. A couple things to show you guys real quick. My little space age dice came in. These things they're expensive for dice, but nerds love that shit. So they glow in the dark. I actually checked them out. I took them in the bathroom and I cut off the light and they actually glowed. You could tell what number was being rolled in the pitch black, but I've got so much light going on, it's not like they're ever going to be useful to me, but they look neat, so I'm going to play with them. Something else, I appreciate the commenter who recommended using tarot card sleeves because they fit perfectly. I now have a sleeved solo card deck. I just got myself a couple packs of these. They're the Ultra Pro board game sleeves. It's the 70mm by 120mm. Just type in tarot cards. If you want to sleeve all your solo cards, you're going to need to order 2 packs of these, and it comes out to something like $9-10 bucks. So it's not much. It's definitely worth it to go ahead and get that. I was definitely thrilled. I mean, I've never played with tarot cards before, so I didn't know they made them in that size, but I mean, shit, people play with everything, so you can find anything nowadays. I know you can even find sleeves for the whole map, like the 22 by 34 map. I found that when I was poking around on Amazon. But anyway, back to our game here. You guys remember my helicopters aren't going to come in until turn 2. I'll set them in over here so you guys can see that. And remember, I've got a couple of helicopters that are going to come zooming in and put some hurt down on these guys. And the Americans start with initiative. Roadblocks are set. Like I said, these guys are kind of spotters here, just the single counters to run up on my guys because I don't really want to take and use my op fire to fire at a single counter. And if I do fire, then that means I'm going to be spotted when these guys move, or if they're looking over in my direction. Like this guy's got line of sight over here onto this group. And then this guy, he's looking down here, but he's not seeing anything. It's kind of weird. The way I'm doing this is I'm tracing from the center dot, and if it crosses any building, it blocks line of sight. It's a little more awkward using the squares, but after you play a couple of rounds with it, you get used to it, and it's not hard. Like I said, I've got initiative, so let's see, what's my first move going to be? I've got guys in line of sight, but I'd have to take a spotting roll, and if I move, it's going to be an op fire chance against me. Like if I try to move my Delta guys, that's going to be an op fire. I don't really want to give them that chance. I don't want to try to spot. So what I'm thinking I'm actually going to do is just kind of let these guys chill for a little bit, see what the game has this group doing. And I think I'm going to move my group here over and just do an assault move attack against this one counter just to clear this out, and maybe take my Rangers and move along these southern buildings. Now this isn't something I planned. I laid out the guys to block me, to be as much in my way as possible. But I did notice when I was done that I do have a little gap here, that if I can push my southern guys across these buildings and then up and across, I can bypass some of their heavier firepower, and I might be able to come in over here on the right with my helicopters and provide covering fire as I move up and just let them kind of chew the Delta guys up. If anyone's watching who actually served in Delta, sorry for using you guys as, you know, meat shields, but okay, so that's what I'm gonna do. I'll move this group up. Unfortunately, I do not have a leader in this group, so the bottom guys who have the 4 movement instead of 6 movement aren't getting that double time bonus, but it doesn't matter for 1 movement point there. That leaves me enough to take and put an assault move attack on that guy. Let me grab that. And I like this. This is, like I said, nice poster frame that I got from Amazon. Got plexiglass on it, and it makes it to where, since I do so much filming, that I can take and pick my game up and move it. And I have the other half of my table to take and record something else. I just got done recording another turn in Silent Victory, in which I was devastated, but it makes it so much easier to move it. And I think you can fit the regular X maps that are the hex-sided ones in this thing very well too. So that's something I'm gonna try on the next one, because I like this. All right, so we got our assault move. I'm laying my fired marker right next to it just to remind myself I'm getting ready to put the fired marker on them. I am not going to use, well, no, these guys don't have any 40 mics, so that doesn't matter. Nope, they do. Never mind, it's not the group I thought it was. All right, so that's 5 firepower. I'm not using those 40 mics. That's 8 firepower, none there, another 2 there. Is that right? Did I count that up right? So 2, 5, 8, 10. 10 total firepower, minus 2 for it being an assault move at those guys who are in a black dotted hex, which means they're going to have just a 1 terrain modifier instead of, I always call it terrain modifier. It is target modifier, but you guys know what I'm talking about. So they've only got a 1 target modifier instead of a 2, so I should be able to just tear them apart with this. Brown is going to be consistently for the Somalis, and I'll probably be rolling my little space die for the Rangers since they've got all the cool equipment. All right, so 8 versus their 1 plus the roll. They got a 2, 3. I got that, so 11 to 3, which brings us back down to 8, which is automatically double their morale, which is good for me because they're going to get torn up. You can see they've got their own special column, and unfortunately I'm not going to be able to probably get it up there. Well, no, I can get it. With an 8, a 5 or 6 will eliminate them outright, because that'll give me greater than or equal to 3 times their morale. So let's see what we get here. 5, yes, that's a 13. That is more than 3 times their morale, so they are crushed in 1 hit. I mean, I'm all giddy over 1 single counter of Somalis going down, which is nothing. So that makes it to where I don't have to worry about these screwballs spotting them for anyone else. And now I have this gap down here with buildings in between me and them, so they're going to have to move towards me. But my Delta, you can see, is fully surrounded. They're probably going to get chewed. So let's draw our first card. By the way, I went defensive posture for these guys. Really, with the map thing, I could have seen them going either way, but generally speaking, I'm assaulting through their position, so defensive works best for them. So what do we have here? Enter melee, overrun. Generally, I'm going to look at this from the point of my 4 main groups of guys. I'm not going to pay attention too much to the smaller guys unless I'm using them spot, which I'm probably going to do. Enter melee, overrun, fire, lay smoke. Somalis cannot lay smoke, by the way. Shaken, AEO, none. A closest to lowest firepower, good order unit fire. Closest to lowest firepower victory condition. Move towards. EA dynamic move towards closest units. Let's see, with everything that's on this card, since I do have one guy here in priority, what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to obey the second priority here. Go ahead and obey that. Not have him fire or lay smoke. I'm going to have him move. I should get that in camera. Have him move right here to expose these guys, this group of Delta. And like I said, I don't want to op fire there because I don't want to waste him firing at these guys. I'd rather fire at something more important over here. And I'm going to be spotted either way, so I might as well save what fire I'm going to be able to have back towards this guy after they've taken their shot. Because I think, yeah, I've got a red terrain modifier. I should be able to survive. So we'll set this here. They're doing a priority move. No need to worry about low crawling or anything because he's out in the open. And we'll grab ourselves a moved marker and throw it down there. Let's see. Now for my guys to enter buildings, I had read this wrong originally. The reason on your movement chart here, if I can get it in frame, you see where it says 2-1? That is because those are buildings and American units cost 2 to enter buildings. Somali units cost 1. So if I go shooting across into these, it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on around. So I'm probably not going to do that. But if I go shooting up here through the road, I can get farther. So 2, because it's 2 points diagonally. Because if you think about it, you go 1, 2, same amount of points. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I can get across there. Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. Just bum rush these guys straight up. Have the next group come up behind them. And the Somalis cannot assault move, so I don't have to worry about them just moving down and firing. They have to move into position before they fire at me. So yeah, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And keep in mind in this that American units are not allowed to enter a roadblock at all. Foot or vehicles, neither one can do it. A helicopter can fly above it, but that's it. You cannot take and move your guys into it. Somali counters can move into it, but it costs them 4 movement points to do so. Alright, we got my guys moved. Sorry there, I had to wet my whistle. Alright, let's draw another card, see what they're going to do, which I guarantee you is going to be a fire. Closest one's fire. 1, 2, they don't have a fire. They're not going to pass. There's no shaken. Shaken. Closest to a target, move towards. Move offboard units on the map. Okay. This guy, well, actually he's within 2. Yeah. We're going to do the same thing here. We're going to expose another set of guys here. How many movement points does this guy have? Alright, he's got 4. So instead of moving him just into the corner of the road, I'm going to move him here, which will actually expose both of these guys. 1 and 2. Leave him there. And like I said, I know that these guys are getting close on top of me, but that's their purpose, to be sacrificial slaughter so the rest of the AI can shoot me. And that's Delta's purpose, is to take the shots so my Rangers can move on up. We're going to do the same thing with this other group down here. We're going to double time it up the road. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're going to get right behind these guys. Another moved marker. And now I can take, and depending, I want Delta to hold, because if Delta can survive, you know, these guys putting some hurt down on them, then these guys will have a chance to move up, wipe out this group with the help of the helicopters, and then have a rear guard action here with the hero and the medic coming up. And if anyone gets hurt or shaken, I can have them fall out and have the medic come up to help them out. So that's a good plan. Yeah, we're gonna push with this and see how this works. And you guys all know the best laid plans go to shit, so we'll have to see what happens. All right, so my guys moved. It's them again. We're drawing a card for them. Let's see what we got here. Enter melee, dynamic move, AO, and terrain with terrain modifier closest to a good order player unit fire. All right, so their first secondary thing is definitely what they're going to be doing. They are 1, 2, 3 away, 1, 2, 3 away. So it's the same either way. Which group do I want to go with? I'll tell you what, we'll randomize it. 1, 2, 3 is going to be these guys. 4, 5, 6 is going to be these guys. These will be shooting here. These will be shooting here. All right, 4, 5, 6. So this lower group of Somalis is going to try to light up my group of Delta here. Let's see, add up what they've got real quick. I've got that counter. Oh, they got an RPG. They might have 2 RPGs. Yep, they got 2 RPGs, which will fire separately. Okay, let's see here. Let me just set the RPG guys out to the side. Alright, so they're RPG in it. Now this is something interesting to think about. The Somalis get an extra firepower for each squad doing it, each squad firing, but one of the squads is firing an RPG. So do they get the extra firepower for them? Each additional Somali MMC multi-man counter firing from a square adds 1 to the firepower of the attack. Hence 3, 0, 2, 4 half squads firing from a square has a firepower of 2, 0 for the first unit, and 1 for every unit thereafter. The way I'm reading that makes it sound to me like these guys are going to count even though they're firing a support weapon. So we will handle their regular attacks first, and then we'll deal with the ordnance fire, which I always butcher. So that's 1 firepower, 2 firepower, 3 firepower. Alright, so they're attacking with 3 firepower against my... Ooh, that's only 1 terrain modifier. Not cool. Alright, first attack is a 3 versus my 1. Let's see how this goes. Come on, Delta, hold. I got a 5 and they got a 7. Not cool. Okay, so rolling 2 on my morale table, which I should be okay because I've got a high morale. Alright, good order. Don't shake. I need a 5 or a 6. We'll send him to shaken. 1 through 4 will leave him as is, no effect. 3. Alright, good deal. He shook off that fire. See, that's where that higher morale is coming into it. Now let's handle our ordnance. And just to make sure that I'm on the right page with this, I'm going to flip over to it because I don't want to forget something when I'm doing this, because I know you subtract this and add that and do this and do that with it. Okay, here we go. We're going to just walk it down the line here. Now, the leader, his RPG first. Alright. He is firing from a range of 3, so he's going to use the middle column. Let me pull this up so you guys can see that. Alright. The top numbers are his range. The middle numbers are the to hit roll. And the bottom number is penetration, which is not needed when we're not firing at something with armor. That 2 is his HE equivalent. So that's the number that is going to affect us. So he needs to roll right now a 4 or under to hit, which is not very easy to roll, but I believe his terrain modifier is going to is modified by adding the terrain modifier of the terrain of the target occupies, and 1 for each degrading hex. So there's no degrading hex, so he has to roll a 3 or under to hit, which is going to be difficult. If the number, okay, so let's go ahead and do that real quick to see if he hits. Take these two here. All right, so he's looking, one of these has to be a 1 because he's got to roll a 3 or under just to hit. And that's a 9, so nope. And we'll go ahead and roll off on our other Somali counter who's also rolling an RPG. And 7, so nope, no dice. Now had they hit, then you would have been rolling off on this guy for his damage. It's going to be using the HE equivalent plus a D6, and the Delta would roll 1 but would not add his terrain modifier. So effectively he'd be getting hit with a firepower of 2 and rolling off like normal on the direct fire table, except he wouldn't get his terrain modifier like normal when it's ordnance. So let's get these guys stacked back up and mark them with a fire counter. He got lucky on that one. I thought the fire might have put some hurt on them. All right, so let's get this guy stacked up. And fire, where's my fire marker? Here it is. Sorry for reaching in front of the camera. Like I said, I've got, you can see all my counters lined up there on the right out of the way, so helps keep it neater. Right now though, I'm just like, oh my God, I wish I had the X map out because it'd be so much better, but I would have to be so far back out of frame just to have the room. So this, my pain is for your pleasure. Okay, since all my Rangers are done and now these guys have fired, that's going to allow me to fire here. You know what? Now that I'm looking at it, this Delta over here did not have line of sight on these guys or these guys. So he really should have fired here and taken those guys out. I'll tell you what, I'm just going to go ahead and do that. Fire on this one and see if I can put some hurt on him real quick, because I don't have to worry about this and this group. I don't know where they're going to go yet, but I don't have to worry about them firing on these guys this turn. I know this group is probably going to fire over here. So let's get rid of their ability to see me. Here, his firepower you see is a 2, but since he is adjacent, he's going to get a +2 modifier to his firepower. Let me make sure it's right on it. Adjacent. Yep, 2. So this one, no terrain modifier. Mine, firepower 4, so he's probably going to get crushed. See, that's the thing. You're outnumbered as the American units, but your firepower is just so ungodly high compared to theirs. All right. 4 versus, well, I rolled a 5, so I got a 9 total versus that, versus their 4, so I got a 5. 5 against that, so he's definitely taking some hurt. Bring our little chart up here. I'm not going to be able to get double though. At most I can get 11, which is not going to be double. So he's just going to take casualties. 6, yeah, got the 11, which is just under 2 times his morale, so it's going to be casualties. And like I said previously for you guys, on these counters, you just flip them just like that. And you see their range is reduced, but that's really the only thing that changes. Other than that, that's it. Now, if he takes another hit, he is wiped out. There's no shaking or anything else like that, so I can put another hurt on him. Let's draw another card. Depending on what these guys do, I got a feeling that it'd be good for the AI to move this group right here in the center to the right to intercept my ranger's moving up, because if he moves up into this corner, he's going to have a line of fire shooting down this street, and I'm going to have to push up through the buildings to take him. So let's draw our card and see what we get. Dynamic move towards, nope. In terrain with plus terrain modifier closest to good order, player unit fire. Yep. That first secondary order is this guy here to fire on my Delta guys right there. Which I guess he could fire at these Delta down here in this building as well, but since they're both spotted, but he's closer here. So 1, 2, 3. Range. Let's see what type of firepower they're throwing. I don't think they have as much. Nope, just the leader has a RPG. I'm dumbing out there. Here's our leader. It's Ahmed. Excuse me. Told you I've been a little bit under the weather here recently. Like I said, I've been pushing a little hard, so. But I will be okay. So we'll do their just normal squads first. Their first one is one with the good squad, so they've got 1 firepower plus 2 more for 2 more of their 0 squads. So they're firing with a 3 firepower against my terrain modifier of 2. Let's roll off on that real quick. They just got 1 on me. That should be okay. As long as it's rolling not bad. Ooh, 6 and 6. Okay, it's not too bad. We tied off on it, so it's just a 1 that I'm rolling on. And as long as I don't roll a 6 again, 3 6s in a row, that'd be bad. I will be okay. 4. Okay, we're good. Came up to 5 underneath his firepower. So we'll stack these guys back up, and the leader here is going to take and fire his RPG there. We know he is firing at a range of 3, so his to hit is going to be a 4. And grab up my dice here. And there was something. Ooh, terrain modifier. He's only going to hit on a 2. So yeah, he's got a bad chance of hitting. But does his leadership? Yeah, his leadership modifier is going to help that. So 3. 3 or under. Never mind. 7. So no dice. We will mark them fired. And that's back to me. Let's see. Since I don't have to worry about these guys taking any fire, I'm going to try to put some hurt on their bigger groups of guys to see if I can hurt them up a little bit. We will take and fire with this northern group of Delta up here onto this group, and I will show you how the 40 mics work. All right, so I got a 40 mic with that group of Delta. You see the firepower is 2 and the range is 3. All right, and you see that it's got a black square around it, which means it can be doubled, but you will half the firepower, so you can fire it up to 6 at a 1 firepower. Now what this does is it's not like typical ordnance. You flip it over, and if it's on its single side, you're going to remove it. So you only get to use these twice, but it adds 2 or 1 if you're firing at extended range to my shot. So I'm effectively firing with 4 firepower onto this group of guys up here, and their terrain modifiers are 1, so I've got a good chance of doing some hurt to them. Let's see what we get here. Alright, I got a 7, they got a 3, so it's a 4 that they're rolling on. Let's pop that off real quick. We'll lay them out, see what kind of hurt they're going to take. Roll off on the leader first. His morale is a 5, so it's going to take a 1. If I roll a 1, he's not going to take any damage. Other than that, he's going to be shaken. 6. Yeah, he's definitely. That came up to 10, so that's double. He's shaken. Ooh, never mind. Equal to double his morale. He actually goes to wounded. So, where is my wounded counter? Alright, we'll pop a wound on him right there. And we're going to roll off on the rest of those guys. This one first, morale of 5. 4 plus the 4 gives him 8, so he's going to be flipped. Next one wouldn't matter since I'm hitting with a 4, they're all going to flip. Okay, come on, stop, there we go. Another one going to flip. Just the yeah, 7, so they flip. Okay. Let's see, I know there were 1, 2, 3, so yeah, they're here. And the neat part is their better counters, they actually go down to 0, 2, 4 as well. So they're pretty much the same once they flip. I'm taking, pop them there. Our wounded leader. And hit them with that. And that. And just FYI for you guys, since I'm narrating this as I'm going and I'm playing both sides, which is fine, you know, doing solitaire, but when you're recording and doing the cards and lighting and all that stuff all at the same time, occasionally I might do the same side more than once. Like I might do my guys twice, or I might do their guys twice just because I lose track. Don't sweat it. It's just one of those things that will happen when you're trying to record it. Like I said before, I got so much more respect for guys who do YouTube because of how much of a hassle, I guess. Not really a hassle. I mean, it's fun to do. I like doing these videos, but it is a lot more work than I originally thought it was. Okay, so we're back down to them. They've got a couple of guys left. Let's see, I'd forgotten about their little group up here. So we got Shaken. They don't have anyone in a close range. No Shaken. AEO is mounted in vehicle. Nope. Shaken again. So we're going to check our victory conditions there. See what we have on that chart. Remember, when you're looking at your chart, make sure you line it up with what your posture is. Player unit within 3 units or 3 hexes of victory condition. No. AEO within 5 hexes of a victory condition. Yes. Move towards victory condition. Now see, this is what I'm talking about that I like to see, because this is going to move this guy over here to cover this direction. He's moving towards that victory condition where I'm going. So we're going to take and go 1, 2, and I'm going to make the judgment call to stop him there in the hex with the best defense. That's going to make it to where he's got a line of sight down this road. Now it is cut off a little bit by this building, which is fine, but he's got a couple of squares up through here, and with this roadblock being here, let me use my tongs, with the roadblock being right here, I have to cut across if I'm going to take the road, at which point he's got me. And this guy is covering down through this direction. So they've got a little bit of crossfire going. I like to see that. I'll take and hit them with a moved marker. And it's going to go back to me. And I've only got one group of guys left. Who do I want to fire at? I'll tell you what. I'm going to take and continue focus firing here and see if I can do some more hurt. And I will also use 1, 2, 3. I'll also use a 40 mic with this guy. Come on, don't knock over. So this is why I should stop trying to finger it around and just use my damn tongs. All right, so firepower 4 against their terrain modifier 1. Dice. Let's see what they got here. 3, so I got an 8 versus their 4. So I hit them with a 5. Ooh, that's going to crush them. That is going to crush them. That might actually kill their leader, and if it does, that's going to mess them up. So let's take and walk it back out. Wounded leader here. And 3 of those counters. Alright, the leader has reduced morale by 1 for being wounded. That is on the back of that counter, just in case you need to see it. And it reduces their leadership range, so like he couldn't activate guys around him like a leader normally can. So his morale's 4. I'm rolling a 5, so let me find, where am I? Ooh, I think he's dead. I don't think there's anything, even if I roll a 1, that can save him, because that still comes up to a 5. 6, yeah, he's crushed. Okay, leader is down. Take it and set him up here. And second group, I think they're all going down. With as hard as I hit there with a 5, because that is over all of their morales. Yeah, I'm not even going to bother rolling on all of that, because it's over all of their morales. They are all hit. And since they have such low morale, they are down. So let's mark my guy here with a fired marker. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that the Somalis can respawn. So they can have a leader spawn again with more support weapons, with more counters with them and stuff like that. And that can happen each turn as we go along. So if the Somali player or the AI player rolls well, he can keep respawning his leaders even though I'm taking them out as I go. Let's roll on. I'll tell you what, I think I'm going to, should I make a judgment call on that? You know what, let's see what the card says first, because I was thinking about just leaving this guy here and doing a pass to keep him lined up, but I'm thinking it might be good to move him down and get a double crossfire going on there. Let's see. No offboard, no one in highest firepower, farthest from the highest firepower, nope. For highest firepower, AU farthest from player unit, dynamic move towards player unit. Yep, we're gonna go with this. Since he doesn't have a line of sight of anybody, he couldn't do the first secondary order anyway, but he can do that second secondary order. So if he moves up, I've got no one that can shoot on him, but he can get into this building. Actually, he could get way up into this building. He could go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He could actually get to there and make it to where anything I do here, yeah, that it's got the best terrain. It's got the red terrain modifier, so it's to best terrain here. So they'd have a very good crossfire to stop me. I'm gonna have to use the helicopter to slow those guys down. So we'll hit them with a moved marker. Now, that is the completion of the units. Now it's the mobs. The mobs can be done at any point of the Somali's turn as normal, but the thing of it is, the way I'm doing it, since they can take and do different things, is saving them kind of to the end. So let me show you guys here in the book. Sorry about that, my phone was going off. Okay, mob activation. Whenever they are activated by the Somali player, the AI player, this is what they're going to do. You're going to roll a d6, and it's going to be one of these things. On a 1, the mob is just dispersed, which means you just take it off the board. On a 2, it's mob confusion, and the American player can move the mob and any units with the mob. So if there's any Somali squads with it, they can be moved right there along with it. Or you can leave it and place a moved marker on it. On 3, the mob grows, place a new mob counter in an eligible adjacent road square. Neither mob moves, mark both mobs as with ops complete. 2 mob counters cannot be in the same hex. They're so dense with people, they're not allowed to. On 4, the mob turns mean, and you place a 0-2-4 counter into it. The Somali player must move the mob and half squad together for this impulse. If placing the 0-2-4 violates stacking limits, place the 2-4 in any adjacent road square. If that isn't possible, do not place them. On a 5 or 6, the Somali player moves the mob, subtract 1 from the die roll for each fired through marker, 1 or 2 on the mob. And that's when, if the mob's in the way and the Somali player fires through the mob, it doesn't disperse it. You put those fired through markers on it, and it makes it more likely for the mob to disperse. So let's take and roll off real quick and see what happens here on our first mob right here. Got a 3. A 3 is the mob grows. Place a new mob counter in an eligible adjacent road square. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4 around it. I'm going to take and roll off on it. We'll ignore 5 or 6s until we get a 1, 2, 3, or 4. All right, 2. So it's going to go right there. That's unfortunate because I really do not like mobs. Second mob that's on the table, rolling for their activation. Get in the cup. 6. The Somali player moves the mob, subtract 1, yada yada. So they're going to take and actually be activated as the AI. We'll draw a card for it. Execute counteractions. Let's see what counteractions we got. All my charts are mixed up. Again, we're on defensive posture. There are none off the map. No weapon teams, no vehicles. Good order, in line of sight and range. No. No medic, no heroes, no snipers. So it's going to tell us to go to our next order. Shaken, closest to victory condition. There's no shaken. Closest to the lowest firepower. Good order, player unit, fire. We're going to take and go with a move on that and have it just move towards my guys. So they're going down this road here, just to save my time of having to go through victory condition chart and counteraction chart. The mobs are one of the harder aspects when it comes to solo play with this game specifically. But honestly, it's not hard. You just make smart judgments on it. Like when I had this one up here that spawned another on where you're spawning it, just do it random. Hey, 1, 2, 3, 4, roll off on it. Roll off on the other things. Most of it can be handled just by rolling the dice or making a smart call on what's good for the AI. I know it's good for the AI to move these counters towards me and get them up into my guys. So moving them that direction. All right, you can see where everybody's at. We're going to have to see how this pans out. The left flank actually handled much better for me than previous games. My Delta teams were able to withstand the fire that they took and completely wipe out one of the enemy platoons, groupings, whatever you want to call them. But there's still 3 large groups and they have converged on my Rangers. But my helicopters are going to come in and I can take and loop them back here, hit them from the rear. I can do any number of things. However, the Somalis are going to possibly respawn, and I forgot to mention, they respawn for each block. So in theory, they could respawn a leader and a squad for each roadblock on the map, and there's 2. So that can add up real quick. I'm gonna go ahead and cut it here since the turn's at a wrap. We'll take and pick up tomorrow with the start of turn 2, and we'll see how the helicopters change the name of the game. You guys take care. Oh, hold up before I hit that part. Like I said, take and let me know if there's other modules you guys want playthroughs, and not just lock and load stuff. If you want a playthrough of something else, let me know. I'd be happy to check it out. If it's something I have or something I'm gonna get, I'll be happy to do a playthrough for you. And I am planning on doing another giveaway. I will announce specifics on that later. So I guess you guys are just gonna have to pay attention to the videos to find out what the specifics are. Y'all take care. I'll see you in the next video.